All right, I have Taylor Roberts from Riding with Killers and Taproot. How's it going, man?
Paul, how are you, brother? As you can see, I'm covered in paint, and I'm still at work, man, because the grind never ends. So if I'm not on the road, I am working endlessly into the night because I'm a workaholic, unfortunately. But I'm doing great, man. Thanks for having me.
So, how does it? I guess my first question is, I mean, you grew up in the South. Um, how much was it a change moving to Michigan? I mean, like colder climate, just it's just different lifestyle.
Honestly, man, it wasn't as hard as you would think it would be. Especially just because I was ready for a change. And anytime I'd ever come up to Michigan, especially, I always loved it. I always had a good time. And what really made me decide that I had to be here was back in 2017. Dave Coughlin, who I met on tour with Taproot in 2013. He was their touring drummer at the time. On that tour, we just became best friends, and we literally started playing Call of Duty every single night. Once that tour ended, and in 2017, he called me up and he was like, "Hey, bro, Taproot's doing a weekend getting back together at the machine shop. Do you want to come stay with me and come to the shows?" And I was like, "Oh my God, yes, absolutely." And I'll just never forget, man. He picked me up from the airport in his muscle car, and I was just like, "Oh, dude, it started out beautifully." Got to his house, and his wife Melissa was just the most welcoming person ever. And I mean, we'd already met a couple times, but this is my first time like staying the night with them, and it was just the coolest experience. And it was my first time getting to go to the machine shop, and when I walked in those doors, like it felt like I was in a storybook that I had been reading my entire life, and just everything felt right and clicked and connected. And that was one of the best weekends I've ever had. We did an after party at Dave and Mel's house, and I met some of the coolest people that I'm still in touch with to this day. And I was like, man, like I love the way that people live up here. I love the attitude up here. Everyone is so welcoming and nice. That Midwest charm that everyone talks about.
Yeah.
Like I really got to experience it for more than just a day, because like I've toured up here, back in the early like 2013, 2014, and in those years. So like I had been up here, but to really get to spend some concrete time, I just kind of fell in love with it, man. And like I like having seasons because it's like 100% humidity year round, and summers are awful, like 100 degrees back home, and then like winter's not bad, but I mean it's cool when you can get like a white Christmas or you get snow. And I know it can be kind of a pain in the ass, but I think it's really pretty. And it was the right change that I needed. So it was honestly an awesome transition.
And so so I kind of want to dive into the your first album. I know that you're saying that the second album is completed and on its way. Like a lot of the songs, are they from like personal experiences?
Oh yeah,
It,
every single one of them. Every single one of them. I don't ever go into the studio and say, "Hey, make me sound like the next Octane band," or "Hey, give me a single, a radio single." Like, obviously, I want to write music that is catchy or appeals to me. Because I grew up with radio rock and new metal, and those are my influences. But like, if it's not about my life or things that I've experienced, it's not gonna be good. So it's all stems from stuff that I've experienced and witnessed firsthand. And now that I'm finally the vocalist, because I was never like, I would do backing vocals and I would help write lyrics in studio with my old band, but I was never the lead singer. So I I've had so many topics in my head and on my heart that I've been waiting to write about. So when I finally got in the driver's seat, when I started writing with Killers, it was like, okay, now it's time for me to write about my life and my experiences. So yeah, the short answer to that is yes, personal experiences.
Well, I thought the song like DNA, I mean, you're kind of saying that like you had a predisposition to like drug abuse or alcoholism. I mean, is that what you're kind of
So
trying to say, or?
with that, even though that's, I mean, to a degree, yes. I was on a very heavy dose of Ritalin from age 7 to 14, 15. And as it turns out, Ritalin is absolutely terrible for everybody, especially children. So I would say that kind of gave me a predisposition. To that, I'm not saying I'm a heavy drug user or anything like that, but that song is about one of my best friends that I almost lost to drug abuse and alcoholism. And quick backstory, I used to weigh 250 pounds, and I'm now hanging out at 160, 155. I fluctuate. Gained a little bit of weight this year over the holidays, but my friend was the first person to approach me like a human being, because that's a sensitive subject with people, is weight and things like
Mhm.
that. And he really helped me start this journey to better myself and lose the weight, keep it off, and get to this healthier lifestyle. And in the midst of that, he fell to alcoholism and drug use. And he moved out to California after getting a settlement, and then like he almost died like 5 times, from like he had to go to the hospital from, like he was drinking like fifths of whiskey, like 2/5 of whiskey a day kind of a thing, and waking up with shakes, blacking out. And he would call me all the time, and like it would be 10 in the morning and he'd be drunk, 3 in the afternoon drunk, 1 in the morning, 10 p.m. You know what I'm saying? Like I'm talking all hours of the day and night, but like I always answered the phone anytime he called, because I love this person. He's one of my favorite people, because he was a real friend to me, and this was my chance to be a real friend back to him. So that song is about our phone calls. That's kind of like in the verses. It sounds like someone's talking through a telephone, like born with it, I'm bored with it. Like just giving up on yourself. It's like that's him talking to me. And um so even though it's not my personal experience with falling down the spiral of drug and alcohol abuse, it's from someone that was very near and dear to my heart. And that me being there for him and turning that into art. And now I get to talk about how he got sober, and now he has a beautiful family. He just welcomed a son into the world about a year and some change ago. And that's my way to hopefully connect with other people, to say, hey, look, like don't give up on your friends, especially if they're calling you and they want this help, like because we don't give up on our people.
Yeah, I always say that um the only way out of hell is straight through. So
Yep.
um I I don't tell a lot of people this, but I went to my brother's visitation on my 23rd birthday. So yeah, like it that fucked me up for a while.
I'm so sorry, man.
But really for me, like music is what like got me through that. And like I don't know, that was my salvation through that because when you don't have people that like I should have been in counseling after that, but I didn't have the my parents were type of like go to therapy type of people. Like they weren't,
Right.
and that's no shade on them or anything, but yeah, it was hard. It's hard losing people, and it yeah puts you pretty dark place at times. So
Well, for sure, man. And I agree with I mean, and thank God we have music, because I mean I feel like that is therapy in its own, and it's therapy that we can all afford, you know, because that's the other thing about therapy. Sometimes it's expensive as hell, or your insurance won't cover it, or this, that, and the other. But
They
like,
never cover it.
thank the fucking Lord we have music,
Yeah.
man. Because I mean, that's what saved me as an angry young man. Because I grew up without my dad. I met him once, and he was the biggest douchebag piece of shit I've ever met. Um, and that fucked me up. I had like 7 reconstructive surgeries on my left eye since I was, you know, like 2 or 3 years old, and that led me to being made fun of relentlessly from elementary school, grade school, high school, even into college. And you know, bands like Linkin Park, Korn, Taproot, Mudvayne, Slipknot, System of a Down, you know, Papa Roach, all those bands were like, "Hey kid, you're not weird. We got you. You belong with us." And that's why I fell in love with this genre as much as I did, because it made me feel normal and it made me feel like I belonged. And that's why I got into making my own music, because it's like, man, this saved me. Maybe I can make a song one day that reaches some angry kid wherever they might be, and they'll think, hey, maybe I'm not alone, and they won't want to give up, and they'll want to chase something in their life, you know, that makes them better. So music is therapy, man. As far as I'm concerned, it's the last true sacred thing that's on this earth, you know, because religion, all that does is divide and cause, you know, judgment or death in a lot of cases. And music, man, you'll have 20 up, sometimes up to 100,000 people in the same space for 1,000 different reasons, but we're there listening and releasing because of that music. And
Yeah.
there's something so powerful and sacred about that, you know.
My kind of, because I grew up, with my brother. Like, I grew up with the Eagles and Bob Seger and classic rock, and
Hell yeah.
even a little even a little old school country. But and then when I was getting into music, it was like, Green Day, Dookie, Offspring, Smash, and then I got Ozzy Osbourne's Osmosis, and I was like, oh fuck, what is this?
Here we go.
Yeah.
Here we go.
And when I was in high school, like, I had Dio, Holy Diver, and I had System of a Down's first album, and I be like rotating between them. And like, I went to like 7 years of Ozfest. Like, I was at 2001 Ozfest
Lucky.
when Taproot played. They were like second, third stage. Um, but they were kind of like 2001 Ozfest. If you go back and look at that lineup, it is like insane.
Insane, dude. Like,
Like like
I'm so jealous.
so like I got to see all of the new metal bands like back in the day, and I mean, I love those bands like System of a Down and Seven Dust and Nonpoint, Taproot. Like, um I guess like booking Taproot was kind of full circle for me. It was like I saw these guys when I was 18, and now like I'm booking them to headline, year one of Rock Lansing. It was pretty cool. So that that
That's
that was an awesome moment. And but it's just yeah, it just and then from there, it just just checking out new bands, and just I've probably seen well over 300 shows and 20 years. So
that's
it's
awesome,
cool.
man.
But I mean, living in Lansing, or close to Grand Rapids or Detroit, I mean, there's always bands coming through there. Pretty much almost everybody does.
And that was
So
one of the big appealing things for me, man, moving up here. Cause like, dude, where I'm from in Mississippi, that's like the Bible Belt. And, you know, I grew up in a super religious household, and my mom was like, "You're not listening to that devil music." And I remember one time she read the lyrics of my Mudvayne CD, The End of All Things to Come. And I came home and I couldn't wait to jam. I was like, "Where's my Mudvayne CD?" And she's like, "I threw it away. Those lyrics are terrible." And I remember the closest I ever got to an Ozfest, because they didn't really touch the South. I mean, it's South Mississippi. Who the fuck's coming down there? Um, it was Day Off Fest from Ozfest 2002. So like the year you would have wanted to see all these bands. It was Disturbed, Linkin Park, Papa Roach, Mudvayne, and Slipknot. And I think there might have been one other band. But my friend's mom and family were like, we got Taylor's ticket, like he can come with us, we'll take care of him. And my mom was like, no, he's not going to that. And I still give a shit about it to this day. But I just remember when I moved to Detroit, I was like, they're coming here. This person's like, it just blew my mind, the amount of shows and the amount of different genre of shows that were coming through here. And like, that's been one of my favorite things about living up here. And like, I've gotten to go to so many shows that just will never come through my hometown area, because there's not, I mean, like just from religious beliefs, and just the way that the economy is down there, like a lot of bands aren't going to go through there. And so that's like I said, man, that's just been one of the coolest things about living in Detroit and being so close to downtown and like the Fillmore and Little Caesars Arena and St. Andrews Hall and just all these legendary venues. That I'm just now within a 7-minute drive to. And my partner Macy, she works at the Fillmore, so we get to go to shows sometimes for free. We definitely don't abuse the privilege, but like, I got to see Till Lindemann, a couple months back, and we were on the floor, and he comes out in the audience, dances with Macy for like 10 seconds, get to give him a high five. And I'm like, fuck, that was the guy from Ramstein. Like, what do you mean? Like, he just danced with my girlfriend. I high fived him. Like, what the fuck is happening? But like, it was the coolest thing in the world, that like I've been listening to this man's music and adoring his art for God 20 years. And it took me moving to Detroit to go see him. And then I never thought that I would be 2 fucking feet away from the guy, or less than that, man. I mean, like, he was right here,
Yeah.
and it was just like, oh, there you are. So like,
I
it's been
I
amazing.
I kind of had that. I definitely have had that moment before. I think specifically it was when I saw Dream Theater and Iron Maiden. I was like, third third row. It's like John Petrucci was like right in front of me, and I was like, holy
Uh,
shit.
I've
Yeah,
got a John Petrucci story for you.
yeah.
Like I'm endorsed with Gibson Guitars now, which shout out to them. But before that, I was endorsed with Music Man Guitars for about 6, 7 years or so. And before I made my way to Detroit, I lived in Fort Wayne, Indiana. I worked at Sweetwater Sound for about a year. And John Petrucci came and did like a guitar clinic. It was one of the new JP Majesty releases, and I think like the JP 16. And I swear to God, he keeps Music Man guitars alive through his models alone. But there was a guy there named Derek who I had been communicating with since 2008 via email. My old band had won a contest through Ernie Ball, and we got to open the Rockstar Taste of Chaos tour with Avenged Sevenfold, Bullet for My Valentine, and Atreyu, and there's like 3 bands from Japan on there. But we had just stayed in touch over the years, and then I found out that Derek was actually at Sweetwater. And so I was like, oh my God, I gotta come see you, bro. Like, we're gonna come have coffee. And like, John Petrucci's sitting right there, but like, I'm just enamored that I'm getting to talk to Derek. Cause I mean, like I said, man, we've only talked via email. And he was the guy that was like, congratulations, your band won, blah, 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 blah. And like, we had just always stayed in touch. And so we're finally talking in person. And then mid conversation, because John, like, me and Derek are right here, and John's right next to us eating a Rice Krispie treat. And just out of the blue, Derek's like, yeah, Taylor, why don't you tell John here why he stopped playing his signature guitars? Because like, that's all I used to play was the JP models. And then I started playing their Stingrays, because that was more of like a Fender Strat meets a Les Paul in terms of like feel, sound, everything else like that. And the JP guitars, he's a shredder, prog guy, and it's built for stuff like that. I'll never forget it, man. Like, as soon as he said that, you see, like, John just kind of looked up, places his Rice Krispie treat down, and then he just turns to me ever so slowly, and he's like, "Yes, do tell me." Cause like this dude is used to everybody just like praising, oh my God, best ever. He doesn't hear often, oh, you used to play my guitars and then you started playing a different model and don't play those. So I literally had that man's undivided attention for about 10 minutes, but it was cool because we got to have a talk about guitars and guitar technology and build and why I moved away from it. But like I'll just like for a split second, I was like, oh shit, heavy metal Jesus, our Lord and Savior on guitar, is about to have a serious talk with me. And but it was honestly one of the coolest conversations. And I think I earned his respect because I had good talking points about why I switched, but it was funny for sure.
Yeah, if I could ever book Dream Theater, I would book them in a heartbeat. Like I just they're incredible live.
Dude, Metropolis, let's go.
I like well, I mean they have so many good albums. The Eye of the Beholder is great. Some of their later stuff. I mean they're kind of probably I'd say most known for Images and Words. It
Right.
has Pull Me Under and that type of stuff. But you know, I kind of got into them because I was really into Queensryche, and I I've probably seen Queensryche like 8 times live with Tate, um, and
Yeah.
I don't know, I love the Operation Mindcrime, Empire. I just think they're fantastic albums, and they're um, thoughtful, introspective, and really well put together. But
They weirdly came through Biloxi a lot. Queensryche did. So I definitely got the chance to see them a couple times, and it was always a good show.
yeah, I was gonna back on Rad and the Killers. I was surprised you don't have a video for Don't Fade Away. Was it?
Yeah, I've got a lyric video, but I'm literally self-funding this band, and music videos are really expensive,
Yeah,
especially for like the ideas that I have in my head. Like every idea, every music video that's out there was storyboarded from ideas in my head and the way that I wanted things to go. But I mean, it's hard to come up with 8 Gs, on a whim sometimes. And because like and maybe this is weird that I do this, but like I don't ask my other guys for money on stuff because like it's my music, it's what I'm writing about. And I started this venture before I found Jed and Chris, and before James, came back to the band, and we would always write together. But like dude, I'm the one paying for everything. So it gets kind of hard sometimes. And I mean, that's why I'm at work right now, and I'll be at work till probably 1 o'clock this morning because, the more I work, the more that I can afford to do the things that I need to do for this band. And I still want to shoot at least 2 or 3 more music videos, 4 songs from Full Circle. It's just a matter of, getting everybody together when they have time, and most importantly, getting the funds together. And I'm at a point in my life where like I don't want to hand out, I want to work for it. And until there is a record label or there is a financial backer that believes in me and we work out a good business deal, I'm going to continue investing. But my thought process is it might take a little bit longer, but if I'm showing that I believe in what I'm doing and I'm investing all this, it'll eventually come back at some point. So I
it
do want to shoot a video for that one. And honestly, floating is another one I want to do a video for. Um, honestly, I want to do video for every single song if I can, but
yeah yeah. I mean, I totally understand that. I mean, when I started doing events and festivals, like it was shoestring, and you just build it piece by piece, and I'm fortunate to be in a spot where we can put on a rock festival and do a really good job at it. But it also took that amount of time to understand all the aspects that we needed to understand to put on a good festival. And we Rock Lansing is pretty much festival for the fans because it's taken from everything is kind of from my perspective of what I liked and didn't like going to shows. And that's kind of what um that's kind of how I've put it together. And you know, because it's like I don't want to pay $18 for a beer. I think that's outrageous. I think, $7 for a water, I think is outrageous. I think
Right.
that certain ticket prices, um, it's expensive. So, we're with Rock Lansing, we're really trying to have fair prices and make it affordable so people can come out and have a good time. And, um, because the thing is, the same day Sonic Temple is going on. So we have to find a way to stand out from Sonic Temple and create our own path. And I feel like we're really doing that. So,
And I'm gonna piggyback off of that and say that I wholeheartedly agree because like obviously I was there last year with Taproot headlining, but until we actually took stage, it was almost like I was a concert goer. So walking around the festival grounds, listening to all the bands and talking to vendors, like, man, it was honestly one of my favorite festivals that we did um, last year because it was just, it felt homey, but it was like, and I told you this earlier, but it was like when I was there, I was like, man, for the first year of a festival, this is awesome. Like, just the right vibes, the right bands, the right sound, the right vendors, and like you were saying, like, dude, the prices were awesome. There was good food, and I made a lot of friends that day with the vendors who I like. Again, I told you, Hud's Tea. Like, I absolutely love those people. Like, I still talk to them almost every day. That was when I finally got to really hang out with Span from Q106, and we had the best cookies in the world. But like, you're doing the right things, man. Because and that's why it's when we got the invite to bring RWK to Rock Lansing 2025, I was like, fuck yes, we're there. Absolutely. So it's cool to be a part of something, from the ground up, and then getting to be involved not 1 but 2 years in a row. Like, it's really cool. Like, I felt like we were a part of something special last year, and now I know even more so that it's incredibly special. And coming back for year two, it's just it's super humbling. So thank you for sure.
thanks, man. I obviously I appreciate it. It's just, it's my passion behind it. I mean, I love music and I want to, I mean, I love Lansing. Like I've lived in Lansing for 20 years. Like I grew up in Olivet. I grew up on a farm and I like living in the city, man. I just, and I just like doing cool stuff with Lansing because um it was this year we're gonna celebrate 10 years for Beer Fest of the Ballpark. It's the a extremely large beer festival that we do at the Lugnuts, which is Jackson Field. It's the minor league baseball team, and we
Dude,
have
sweet.
yeah, so we have about 70 different alcohol vendors out, and then we'll have like three stages and stuff, and it's just like before kind of I started doing festivals in Lansing, there wasn't a lot of at least beer festivals. There wasn't,
Yeah.
and then early on, there used to be a festival called Common Ground that happened, and they'd bring and be like a 7 day festival. They'd bring in a lot of bands. I saw a lot of bands over that. Just like ZZ Top, Alice Cooper, Shinedown played there. In This Moment played there, and so I got to see their setup and see how they did it, and um, not everything. So obviously we had to figure out a lot of things for ourselves, but I think that Lansing is a great place to have a show because it's centrally located. It's not hard to get to, and yeah, it's not Grand Rapids or Detroit, but Lansing still has a lot to offer, and um, I just really want to show people like come to Lansing. You have a good weekend. There's a lot of other stuff even besides the concert to do. If it's biking or running or walking on the Lansing River Trail or going to the state capitol, the tours are free. It's beautiful. And there's MSU campus is beautiful too. So Lansing just has a lot to offer, and we're really trying to showcase that. And Like the first year, the poster was the Ivan Idler statue that's on Museum Drive, and the behind me, that's the Turner Dodge house, um, and it's a famous house in Old Town Lansing.
No kidding. I
And
didn't know that. That's awesome.
if you see in the window, it's like a ghost because it's known to be haunted.
Yeah,
So
that's
there's
so funny. I didn't
so
notice that. I
yeah,
feel like an idiot.
a lot of the stuff I do, there's always like a little Easter egg kind of stuff, just like a little hidden meaning and stuff like that. So we tie it all in together, and me being an artist, like I want to support other artists, and this year we're also working on kind of like the walk into Rock Lansing, having like large metal sculptures, and just have this cool entrance into Rock
That's
Lansing,
awesome.
and
I
then
love that.
you walk across the bridge, and then you're into the festival. So um, I'm in the process of happening, so we'll see how everything kind of shakes out. But I got Ivan on board, and he's a good one. So I should be able to get some other artists, and we'll have some really cool stuff.
That's gonna
But
set the
yeah,
tone for sure, man. Like
yeah,
coming into a festival like that, that'll be dope.
I think because I think some of the best festivals are music and art festivals. Like
I agree.
I've been to Voodoo Fest in New Orleans. That was really cool.
Yeah,
That
hometown
was really
area.
cool. I've been to Austin City Limits, and that's a huge festival.
Still
Like
haven't been to that one yet. I really want to check that one out. I got a few friends that live down there and they rant and rave about it. And I have yet to make it down
it,
that way for that one.
it's it's cool. It's huge. There's like 8 stages, and like yeah, it's cool. When I was down there, it was like Metallica was kind of one of the headliners. They had Paul McCartney, and it was, I mean, it's a crazy lineup, as always. But yeah, I mean, so for like Rock Lansing, I've just kind of, you know, I mean, it kind of all goes back to Woodstock, kind of really for me. I mean, you kind of think of what they were trying to accomplish there, what with music, and I'm talking about Woodstock '69. I'm not talking about Woodstock '99. That's cringeworthy. Just saying, really cringeworthy. But '69, they were trying to bring music, art together, and um, that's that's really what I'm trying to do, and um, do it in a way that where the artists are getting exposure, are getting paid, like because being as an artist, I've always hated when people devalue you, and
Exposure bucks.
yeah. So so I really try not to do that. So because because I kind of started out more as a graphic artist, web design artist, and everybody would want a website on the cheap, and it's like, hey man, it takes this long to do it, So
Well, you got to
um
weed out the clientele, and you get to a point of where it's like, and that's like with me with my painting business. Not everybody can afford me, and that's okay. But
mhm.
I've gotten to a point of where I attract a certain level of clientele, and where I'm landing, it gets me working with the people that I really want to work with, that appreciate me and my work and my work ethic, and they're easier to work with. And I find 9 times out of 10, the people that want something for nothing are honestly the worst people to work with, and they'll nitpick and send you 1,000 different notes after you're done. And the people that see your worth and you know, don't price bitch and try to, beat you down. Like, those are the easiest people to work with. You generally get paid without having to chase money, and it makes you do better work because you're not being micromanaged and all that. So
Be-
I
because
think it's just one of those things. You got to work, you got to wade through the bullshit.
well, because you're being valued, and you're not, like
That's why
um
I'm still at work right now. Like, when we get off of this, I'm going to be here for another 3 or 4 hours till about 1 a.m. But it's because, like I told you earlier, like I literally just got handed a 100 unit apartment complex that my painting business is in charge of now. But like, I'm going to care because A, this is my first apartment complex that I get to head up, but B, the management company believes in me enough. They they see my value, and we have a good line of communication. And again, man, the harder I get to work here means the harder I get to pursue writing with Killers or going on tour with Taproot, and doing the things that really matter the most to me in my life. And I get to take care of my family at the same time. Like it's awesome. So, when you find the people that really value you, it makes you work harder by default, I think, because they trust you, they see your value. And when you're not getting undervalued, you put forth your best effort. And I would argue
Oh, for
that if
sure.
you love what you do, when you're cutting your teeth, you're still going to put forth that best effort. But that's what allows you to get rid of those bullshit clients and find the people that are going to trust you and help build you up. So
Yeah, for sure. I guess just a couple two last questions. The hostility video, is that Damon from A Virtue in there?
yeah, dude, Damon's in a couple videos. That was back when I didn't really have a bass player, and Jed had just come into the band, and Damon was in that video. He's also in the video for Novelty. Um and Damon is one of my absolute best friends in the entire world. He's been in two Writing with Killers videos. He's played probably five or six shows filling in on bass with me. And he's just one of those dudes that when you're in the same room with Damon, especially when you're on stage or performing, like he pumps everybody up. He makes me want to throw down harder. He makes me want to kick higher than I've ever kicked in my entire, like, that dude's high kicks when he's performing. Oh, beautiful. But yeah, man, that's 100% Damon. Love you,
That's
Damon. Mwah.
that's funny because I was like, I think that's Damon. But
Totally. Totally.
um, and I guess the last question is um, like, is the hardest is it hard for you being an artist when you write really personal stuff that you're a little bit nervous when you release it because you're like, this is kind of like pretty personal. Um,
Yeah, I mean, like but I feel like it's scary releasing anything, especially if you care about it. But if I know something is personal and it if it makes me cry, which I'm not even ashamed to admit, man, like some of these songs, when I heard them back for the first time and heard them in its entirety, it was like it was getting punched in the face by this emotional thing that affected me way back. Um, that lets me know it's real. And if it's real, and if I can listen to it several times and I can get put back in that same place, I feel like it's going to translate to somebody. Because at the end of the day, not everybody's going to like what I do or what anybody does. You're always going to have the haters or whatever. But if I write something that gets me in that space, I know that someone somewhere will hopefully like it. But that's the whole thing, man. Like as artists, we take gambles, but that's why we do it, because we do love it, and it is the best way to take that either negativity or that beauty, whatever it might be, and release it in a positive manner. So um yes and no. It's scary for the fact that you're releasing music and you want people to like it, but it's not scary for the fact that you were brave enough to put something out to the world. So half and half.
yeah, I struggle with that a little bit. When I was gonna release the lineup, I'm like, are people gonna like this? You don't know. It's like, but then I'm just like, gotta push through that and just, and it'll be fine.
Nah, dude,
So
it's we're so excited, man. The lineup is stellar. I'm gonna get to hang out with a bunch of friends on top of it, so it's gonna be best friend day essentially, and it'll be an opportunity to meet some of these bigger bands and rub elbows with people that we love their art. So um you're doing good things. Don't second guess yourself. That is the killer, and the enemy is second guessing. You done did good.
Thanks, man. Well, I just want to say, thanks for coming on and doing the interview, and I really appreciate it.
Yeah, man. Thanks for giving me a break in my painting today. It was an awesome way to take a rest, man. So I appreciate you having me. I appreciate you having us on. We're gonna throw the fuck down in May, and we can't wait to see everybody. So again, thanks for having us, brother.